Making a video.
Greetings, Twin Flame lovers.
Making a video.
Hey, it's Dr. Amanda Noel and
Jacques Rousseau.
And today we have a video about something special.
About new paradigm marriage.
For smart, conscious women. So stay tuned. Beep, 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 boop. Okay, so
nice.
What's this video about, Mr. Jack?
It's about new paradigm relationship and marriage.
Because the old paradigm, how did that work out for us?
We tried out the old paradigm marriage where there's like a patriarch and we're addicted to money.
That's this guy.
And oh yeah, you played no part in that.
No,
it was just me the whole time. And it was stressful and it was really challenging.
And I was often
we were arguing.
I was living on unicorn juice and I was fantasizing about rainbows and marriage and honeymoons because I was programmed by Walt Disney to watch me some good-ass Cinderella, and this guy was supposed to save me, and he decided that wasn't the best idea.
It wasn't?
Well, I guess my soul decided it wasn't the best idea because it wasn't real. The honeymoon is great and all, but if you don't actually have a sacred foundation and you're just riding on fantasy, then what's gonna actually happen? The divorce rate is pretty crazy
Fantasies in relationship.
Mm-hmm. Well, you said the divorce rate is like 50%.
Yeah, it's like, yeah.
And that's not true. I double checked.
Yeah, there's some arguments
Google.
Against that, but I mean, even if it's
high.
40%, like that's really high.
It's really
high.
2/3 of divorces are predicted to be okay in terms of, or sorry, 2/3 of marriages will probably last, but of those 2/3, how many of them are kind of shitty? Probably a lot.
Or suppressed.
Or like,
maybe they look great on the outside.
But if they're not doing this a lot, or this a lot, or no, I'm just kidding. Yeah, that doesn't matter. But what's the video gonna do now? I'm confused. What's happening?
So there's the old paradigm relationships where, you know, back in the 50s, it was like I mean, I'm no expert on this, but it was back in, you know, 1950s when people, you know, it was really, the man was the patriarch of the relationship.
Can I cook you something?
And the woman was in the kitchen all the time.
Yay, these pumpkin brownies are so wonderful. Pumpkin brownies.
So it was, you know, the man and the woman had their own roles that was really orchestrated by society and just the norms of society and peer pressure. You know, moms were usually stay at home. Men were out getting some work done in the office. And that was it. The mom cooked dinner and took care of the kids. Well, man worked.
Before that, I actually have a degree in cultural anthropology from Duke University. I'm such a nerd!
Oh.
And I learned about marriage in culture, and this is really rusty, but from what I remember, as society developed out of hunter-gatherer societies, we were just like, you're my... Well, I would probably just get grabbed by Jack. He'd be like clubbing me over the head, and I'd be his wife, and he'd just...
Dunk.
Basically kind of rape me and claim me, and that probably wasn't the best form of marriage. Maybe there were some true hot love affairs that turned into beautiful things, but the history of marriage was pretty dark, and it evolved over time to involve money, and that's where women were.
And it was based on security and survival. You know, marriage was like a, what's the word?
Business.
Yeah, I guess a business plan or business deal.
Yeah, and women didn't have the upper hand of the deal. You know why? We had no money. We was po. You
could share it with the guy.
Boss man. Oh yeah? Could we always do that? What about the woman that had no rights, where she just had to give up her pussy to big boss man, because if not, her parents would be out on the street.
Yeah, so this is
Some women might have had choice.
We're trying to read like the macro scale of this, which, I mean, it's kind of hard to say like how every marriage is. I mean, there's millions and millions of marriages, so. There
are millions of marriages, but I would bet that there's some archetypes that we could probably boil it down to. For example, in many of my past lives, I found out that I could barter my beauty for a beautiful man, and I could have a bigger house, a bigger cock, or a bigger ego if I really took care of my beauty and put on all those creams, and I learned how to be sexy and seduce a man, because I could play the business marriage game pretty well.
And how is this playing out in your life right now?
I tried that in college. I was like, let me do that, because I went to this big, fancy university with all these wealthy men that went to country clubs. I was from the ghetto. I was like, ooh, I'm gonna get me some of that nice country club boy. And unfortunately, they were really abusive to me, didn't call me back, it really hurt my feelings, or I just didn't feel good enough. Or my inner feminist was like, I wanna be free and go travel. So that didn't really work for me at all. And I was really disappointed and ended up not dating, or dating guys that were the opposite of that.
Okay. So either one or the opposite of that.
Yeah, I basically kind of was single for many years, or in relationships that I knew wouldn't work out. They were just kind of like fun things. And I basically kind of gave up on marriage for a while there.
Okay.
Because I didn't want you to own my ass. So that's why I became a cougar.
So trying to keep us on linear topic here. So we start out with the 1950s patriarchal marriage. Then it's kind of evolved into like, the feminist movement came out.
Woo-hoo! Show us your tits! Woo!
And then the women's rights, and eventually the women started making just as much money as men. So it was kind of more of an equal playing field, and it was more of
women aren't making exactly the same amount as men. You can
oh, here we go. Here's the big argument.
But it's gotten a little closer. I will
Major
give you. I will
debate here.
Battle of the sexes. No,
Feminists against everyone else.
The patriarch. No, we're trying. We're actually trying to heal this, but we still.
The question is: are the feminists the new patriarch, disguised in female bodies?
Exactly. Oh. Yes, that's true. I could be, but I might not be. It's opposite day. So in the feminist movement, what happened? What do you think happened to us as we became liberated? We became more in touch with our masculine.
I think that it went from, yes, I mean, it was kind of a patriarchy in relationships, to then the women were like, I'm sick of this, and they're angry, and they're like, we're gonna do the same thing that you did to us, we're gonna give it right back to you, and we're gonna dom you, and we're gonna just give you exactly what you guys gave us back then. But really, that's like, is that healthy?
I don't know. I didn't grow up in that family. Actually, I kind of did. I had a mominatrix. I love my mom. She's amazing. She's such an amazing woman. And she pretty much could have had a dick in certain ways. I mean, don't take that literally.
Powerful woman.
She's a powerful fire. And she could probably squash many men. And what I loved about it is she taught me to be, like empowered, feel safe in the world, do big things. And I think that children of like super radical feminazi mamas can sometimes actually lose sense of their feminine energy. And I had major issues with eating disorders and loving myself and feeling beautiful, because it was almost like, don't be too beautiful, don't be too girly, don't be, super in touch with your feminine. So that was really confusing. Especially when the media was like, look really pretty, look really feminine.
So this video is about, we wanted to lead them into the new paradigm relationship.
Ooh.
We're 8 minutes in, and we've
we have to create a new
just
paradigm.
the old paradigm.
So how do we create a new paradigm together?
We're in the process of creating this, and I can feel our stuff coming up during this video right now.
I think we were a little stuck in the past because
we
of
do
all
have
some of
those old stuff from our ancestors.
I am gonna take this veil off.
It's challenging, this old stuff that we're dealing with. I still have these kind of old patterns that, the way I was taught growing up was the dad is, the dad's the man, he's the leader of the relationship, and he's the breadwinner. Amanda was taught...
I was taught to be equal. My dad...
Your mom was kind of the leader in the relationship.
Well, actually, with finances, my dad was more of the leader still. And she would be like, Amanda, just make sure you get a really good guy who can deal with money, because it's too hard as a woman. And I'd be like, oh God, I don't know. With money, I still have blocks around money that you're helping out. So there's still like residue from old patterns that I've had to really work on. And they're still always probably going to be there from the old past. So maybe creating the new paradigm isn't just ignoring or pendulum swinging to the other side, but to like learn from the past and kind of learn the negatives and also learn some of the positives, because there may not be, we might have a baby in that bathwater. that marriage bathwater.
Yeah. So my definition so far of the new paradigm marriage and relationship is that both partners take full responsibility for their own energy.
Yeah, and we agreed upon that before this video. That's something I fully stand by.
And it's a very simple sentence, but there's a lot that goes into that one thing. Yeah. And it's, taking full responsibility for my own emotions, my own beliefs, my own judgments, and not projecting that onto the woman that I'm with, Amanda. And that's a constant learning process.
Yeah, and just to add to that, if it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. To add responsibility of balancing the feminine and the masculine. And I like the word that I use sometimes. It's called responsibility. So it's balancing the masculine responsibility, the structure, the vows, it should be this way, the judgment aspect of the law of marriage, with the compassion, the more feminine aspect of marriage, which would be more of like being in the flow, being in the emotions, really being with the moment. So having both is what's true for responsibility for me.
Mm-hmm.
Feminine, masculine. Interesting.
Okay. And having really clean and clear communication.
Blah! And sometimes that is clear communication, is just finding ways to like emotionally take a dump, not on your partner, but in safe space within the partnership. Even doing yoga and getting out anger from your liver and just punching pillows if that works for you, or talking to a friend and being like, man, my man's being a jerk. I don't do that, but I could if I wanted to, and it would be helpful.
And then having flexibility within the roles in the relationship.
Really flexible.
Yeah. So like, checking in with each other as much as possible about, how are things going? Like,
how's it going?
Are
you good?
With cleaning the house, like who's in charge of that? And, or,
this one's still in charge of that because this one's in charge of that because this one doesn't really know how to use a broom
having
yet.
Some stuff come up. Okay, awesome.
He grew up as the king in his kingdom, like his stay-at-home mom took care of all those little things, so he doesn't know what it takes.
So this feels like shame right now. I feel shame in my body.
And so he feels shame. So what?
And I feel like.
So like, share about your shame, about what it's like to feel shame.
Amanda likes to process in our videos,
well,
which I think is kind of boring for our viewers, but she's like,
they're having fun.
How does your inner boy feel right now? I don't even know what that means.
Okay, so we're still navigating how to run a household when I get really frustrated and he doesn't like me to be frustrated, or we're gonna hire a housekeeper. Let's do that.
Oh.
That'd be easier.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's what someone suggested anyways. And then we can both not deal with the dirt.
Okay.
Okay, bring it back.
I feel like we should wrap this video up, but I'm trying to.
Do you want to give the last?
It up.
Oh yeah, give the last piece.
I don't remember what the last piece was.
Okay, well the last piece is we're gonna make it up. Okay. Oh, what's our new paradigm marriage? Our biggest thing that we learned by unengaging from the old paradigm and
that's a whole 15-minute story.
What's the number one thing that is the essence of the new paradigm marriage? The biggest one is that you get to decide, and put it in the comments below. Obviously, you get to decide. And what else should they do? Subscribe!
Oh!
Because we want to make more videos for you, and we would love to give out all of our crazy stories about our life, and make sure that you don't fall into the traps that we fell into. We've learned amazing things in our journey, so we want to give that to you and help you call in the most amazing relationship.
And we're trying to have some fun along the way. Whoa! I just want to have fun. That's it.
Boys just want new paradigm marriage. People just want to have fun. That's the end.
Yeah.
Love you. Bye.
Bye, guys.